Today, our story begins at the National Art Gallery in France, a fabulous collection of paintings dating back many hundreds of years and including thousands of old masters. So valuable are these pictures that every room in the gallery is watched by not one, but two guards. Guards whose loyalty is unquestionable. Guards who are honest, faithful, and,
How about True Blue?
But you're not... Shh! But you're not guards. You're Boris Badenov and Natasha Fatal.
Right, darling.
Well, what are you doing here?
Just waiting for you to introduce us. Come on, Natasha.
And in less time than it takes to tell, the two crooks had cut 10 old masters from their frames. Natasha quickly rolled them around Boris just as the door opened and the museum director walked in.
Ah, bonjour, Pierre, Marcel.
Bonjour, darling.
Putting on a little weight, aren't you, Pierre?
Not for long.
Where are you going?
It's time for crepe Suzette break.
Crepe Suzette break?
And I never like to keep Suzette waiting. Come on, Marcel.
And the two villains dashed out just as the director said...
Sacre bleu, mille tonnerre, and other mild French expressions. Stop them!
But he was a little too late. The two villains were already dashing through the alleys of Paris. However, the French police were not to be caught napping. I said the French police were not to be caught napping.
Huh? Oh, oui, oui. Calling all gendarmes. Calling all gendarmes. Bonsoir, messieurs.
And so, within moments, the whole area was surrounded by police.
Boris, if they find the paintings on us, we are kaput. How do we hide them?
Don't worry, Natasha.
Boris, you got fiendish plan?
When don't I got fiendish plan? Look.
Sure enough, the wily thief had wrapped the paintings in a package ready for mailing. And as his partner watched, he dropped it in the nearest pillar box.
Now how do we make our escape?
It's a snap.
And sure enough, as dozens of French gendarmes watched wide-eyed, an odd-looking couple strolled down the Rue de la Paix.
Blom de mi tante, Henri. Look there.
Is nothing to average American tourists.
Are you sure?
Am I sure? Look, he's throwing away dollar bills.
He must be an American.
Besides, he obviously doesn't have the painting.
And so the two villains strolled right through the police cordon. But as the gendarmes looked more closely at the bills...
Hey, Henri.
Oui?
This is the first picture I ever see of Washington with a mustache.
No wonder he shaved it off. He looks terrible.
Could he be a counterfeit?
Hey, watch what you say about George Washington. You want to break up NATO?
Nevermore, this dollar is, how you say, the phony baloney.
And the police once again took up the chase, but too late. For a short time later, Boris and Natasha were in a jet plane heading for,
Yes, where are we headed, Boris?
To pick up the package we mailed.
Where did you address it, darling?
Think, Natasha. Who could you send $1 million package to? He'd be dumb enough to give it back.
You don't mean...
Yes, I do.
Yes, that package, which arrived at its destination a few days later, was addressed to...
Bullwinkle Moose, Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
That's me, all righty.
You're expecting a parcel from Paris, France?
Of course not. This is a family show.
Oh, boy. Sign here.
Did you send away for anything, Bullwinkle?
Just some wallpaper samples, Rock.
Wallpaper samples?
Yeah, I've been thinking of doing over the chicken coop.
The chicken coop. Well, it looks as if Bullwinkle may have the most valuable chicken coop on Earth.
You bet. These Buff Orpingtons don't come cheap, you know.
But remember, Boris and Natasha are on their way to get the painting back, and they'll let nothing stand in their way.
Especially nothing with antlers.
Oh, be sure to see our next episode, Transatlantic Chicken, or Hens Across the Sea.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Once upon a time, which is always a nice way to start a fairy tale, there was a great white castle in which lived a powerful duke who was a very proud man. He was proud because he was tall and straight and handsome and brave, but he was proudest of all when he took off his hat, for he had a huge head of bushy, flaming red hair not to be equaled by anyone in the kingdom.
Oh, I love my red hair. It gives me fire.
He would comb it 100 strokes every day.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4.
It was his habit upon arising each morning to go to his mirror, which, by the way, was a magic mirror, admire his flaming locks, then...
Mirror, mirror, hanging there, tell me who has the reddest hair.
Violets are blue, roses are red, but it's only your dome that is redder than red.
This went on day after day, year after year, and the mirror always answered the same. That is, until one morning...
Mirror, mirror, hanging there, tell me who has the reddest hair.
Your hair is red, that's very true, but the girl who spins has hair redder than you.
Who?
Girl who spins.
Redder than me?
Makes you look like a bleached blonde, Booby.
Shocked and horrified, the Duke ran to his address book.
G. Girl who spins. 728, small house in the forest.
Armed with the address, the Duke mounted his fastest horse and galloped off into the forest at top speed. When he arrived, he saw that what the mirror had said was true, for there, at a spinning wheel, sat a lovely young girl that had long, blazing red hair that hung down to her, hips.
My, but that's red. I say, what is your name, fair maiden?
My hair is red as fire and my skin is white as cream, so my name is Red White.
Hair's red, all right. Rinse job?
No, natural.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you'll have to dye it black.
Oh, I can't.
Why not?
I'm waiting for my true love, and he will only know me by my red hair. My fairy godmother told me so.
Now, see here. I happen to be a powerful duck.
That's Duke.
Oh, thank you. And you'd better dye your hair black, or you're going to find yourself in big trouble.
With that, the Duke turned and galloped away. Not as fast as he had arrived, however, for he had forgotten his horse. The poor girl was frightened, and as she sat weeping, her fairy godmother appeared.
Oh, there, honey. Now, don't blubber.
But if I dye my hair, my true love won't know me. And if I don't, I'll get into big trouble.
You just leave it red, dearie. I can handle that duck.
That's Duke.
Oh, yes.
The following morning...
Mirror, mirror, hanging there. Tell me now who has the reddest hair.
Red white, like I said. Weren't you listening?
Nose is bad enough, but you didn't even bother to make a rhyme out of it.
Furious, the Duke wasted no time.
You must dye your hair black within 24 hours, or you will go to the pokey. Now, good day.
Godmother!
Oh, here I am, honey. Don't come unglued. Take these nettles that grow beside the road and put them in your spinning wheel. Every day you spin nettles, that Duke will lose 32 hairs.
Doing as she was told, Red White took the nettles and set herself to spinning. The very next day, the Duke was combing his hair the usual 100 strokes when...
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potatoes, 4, 5 potatoes, 6 potatoes... Hey, what's this? My comb, it's full of hair. Mirror, mirror, look at this. My beautiful red hair is coming out.
I can see that, Booby, and you're not rhyming either.
I know. There's no time for that. Tell me what's happening.
Well, you understand, it's like kind of a hex. You know, a fairy tale whammy. Every day that Red White spins nettles, you lose 32 hairs.
The fiend! She's got to be stopped.
Taking a stout rope, the Duke sped to Red White and bound her securely.
There! Oh, I'd like to see you spin nettles with your hands tied, buddy.
But she did. For being a clever girl, Red White managed quite well to spin more nettles with her feet.
29, 30, 31, 32. Oh, she's at it again. Mirror, speak to me. What am I going to do?
I'm rather sorry that you called, for by tomorrow you shall be bald.
Excellent. You're rhyming again.
I know. Makes it more like a fairy tale.
And just as the mirror had said, by the following day, every last red hair on the Duke's head was gone.
You can stop spinning now, kid. You win. And I might add, I'm very unhappy about the whole thing.
Well, I'm unhappy, too. Even though I've kept my red hair, my true love has not come for me.
Gee, that's tough. Well, so long.
Wait! It seems as though I've made a slight mistake. The duck here...
That's Duke.
Yes, the Duke here. He's your true love.
Me?
Him?
Darling.
Sweetie.
It's too bad I didn't figure that out till he lost his hair, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
And so, as you knew they would...
They lived happily ever after. Hey, Bobby, what rhymes with after?
Hi there, culture and archery fans. Today's poem is The Arrow and the Song by Longfellow. I shot the arrow into... I shot a arrow into the... Ooh, my, that smarts. Well, try again. Smaller bow. I shot the arrow into the air. It fell to earth. I know not... Oh! Boy, it's a dangerous poem. I shot a arrow into the... Oh, Faz. I chunked the arrow into the air. That's better. It fell to earth, I know not where. But when it...
You lose an arrow, Moose.
Why, yes. Did you find one?
What's it look like to you?
Looks like about 30 days. So if your feathered shaft should soar up high among the sparrows, you'll always know the final score. No hits, no runs, no arrows.
That's a pretty strange-looking painting, Bullwinkle.
I just paint what I see.
Well, what do you see?
This is what I see.
Hello out there, Peabody and Sherman here. Anyone for Tennyson?
Who's Tennyson, Mr. Peabody?
The brilliant poet who wrote The Charge of the Light Brigade.
Are we going to visit Mr. Tennyson today?
Well, no, I thought we'd visit the Light Brigade. We set the way back for Balaclava, a small port in the Crimea, in the year 1854. At that time, the Russian army had the British forces under heavy siege. We arrived on the scene just as Lord Cardigan, sitting astride his magnificent British horse, raised his sword to signal the advance.
Oh, boy, Mr. Peabody, we're just in time to see the Light Brigade charge.
You are laboring under a misapprehension, Sherman, for if you'll notice, the brigade is lighter than usual.
You're right, Mr. Peabody. The horses are there, but there's nobody on them.
It was imperative that Lord Cardigan be informed of this fact.
Brigadiers!
Stop!
Stop! What do you mean, stop out of the way? We're going to charge.
If you charge, your lordship, you'll be charging alone. A quick glance to the rear told the story.
Good Lord, they've done it again.
Done what again? Where are they?
They've all taken weekend leave for a month.
But someone's got to get them back here.
That is an impossible task.
Not for Mr. Peabody, it isn't.
Sherman's well-founded hero worship of me had done it again.
Here is a list showing where each man is spending his leave.
How many men are there?
6.
I thought there were 600.
Oh, no, there's only 6. That's why it was called the Light Brigade. The first 2 men on the list were Private Higginbottom and Corporal McChesney, and they had a weakness for Chinese food. The nearest Chinese restaurant, of course, was in Hong Kong, and that's where we found them, inside Ed Fu Young's chop suey.
You gotta get back to the post immediately.
Can't do it, lady.
No, we got 15 more courses of food coming, and we ain't going to leave till we get some.
15 more courses? That'll take forever, Mr. Peabody.
No, it won't. Hand me that fortune cookie. I inserted a substitute fortune into the cookie, and when it was opened...
The food has been poisoned. Signed, a friend.
Gore, blimey. We better get back to the blanking post and have our stomachs pumped.
That takes care of numbers 1 and 2. Next, Sergeant Clappingstone.
Where's he?
The city of Sebastopol, in, of all things, a circus. It seemed the good sergeant came from a family of circus performers, and in his off time, he picked up a few extra rubles as a human cannonball.
There he is now, Mr. Peabody, climbing into the mouth of that cannon.
Excellent. He'll be back at the post in no time. All I had to do was charge the cannon with a little extra gunpowder, aim it in the direction of Balaclava, and the departure came off right on schedule. The next 2 names on the list were Lieutenant Faversham and Captain Trippingwell. We came across them on a tennis court in Rangoon, India. If they're that engrossed in the game, we'll get them back without their even knowing it. I took one end of the net, Sherman took the other, and we headed for the railway terminal with a match still in progress. I'm sure the citizens of India had never seen the 5:15 for Balaclava depart with a tennis match high atop the caboose.
Only one more to go, Mr. Peabody.
Yes, but that last one was a dilly. He was Colonel Fotheringay, or should I say Patient Fotheringay, for it was in a hospital in Odessa that we found him.
You'll have to be very quiet. The colonel has been stricken with severe pains in the chest. He can't be moved under any condition.
Mind if I see the x-rays?
Not at all. Here.
Close examination revealed something that only my keen eye detected. I can have him on his feet in 30 seconds. Prepare the operating room immediately.
But, Mr. Peabody, you're not going to operate, are you?
Sherman, by now you should know that I am one of the smoothest operators there is. Scissors, please. There, it's done.
Amazing, sir! Amazing! The pain is gone. What did you do?
I simply removed the metal from your tunic. Whoever pinned it on pinned it rather deeply.
Hey, Jove! I feel so good I shall return to the post immediately.
Thus it was that all the men were present and accounted for when it came time for the Light Brigade to charge.
Brigadiers! Charge!
Oh, how thrilling, Mr. Peabody.
Not only thrilling, it helped end the war in the Crimea.
Then the British became their friends?
Well, not exactly. You see, following the war, the Crimeans borrowed a large sum of money from the British.
Don't tell me they didn't pay them back.
Well, that goes without saying, Sherman. Everybody knows that Crimea doesn't pay.
Last time, you remember, Boris and Natasha posed as guards in a French National Art Gallery and swiped 10 old masters, each worth a fortune. Of course, the museum director was very upset. He summoned the head security officer.
They took the paintings right from under your nose.
It's a pretty big nose.
Well, you deserve a little something for this episode.
I do?
Which of these paintings do you like?
Can I have the one of the clown?
Of course you can.
What happened, Chief?
It's obvious. I was framed.
Meanwhile, Boris and Natasha had dropped the paintings into a mailbox and sauntered past the police, disguised as American tourists.
I say arrest them anyway, Henri.
Tut, Aristide, you never arrest a tourist.
Even if they steal?
Aristide, look at the prices in the store window.
They are ridiculous.
Of course. So no matter how much a tourist steals, we're bound to get it back before he leaves.
Unfortunately, Boris and Natasha weren't crooked tourists, just crooked. And so a short time later, they were zooming over the ocean to intercept their precious package of purloined paintings.
Where do we catch up with it, Boris?
Where else? Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
Little did they know that their package had already arrived and been delivered to Bullwinkle Moose, who mistook the paintings for wallpaper samples.
I'm thinking of doing over the chicken coop. How do you like this pattern, Rock?
The Mona Lisa.
Can't say I care for that pattern. She's got kind of a sneaky smile.
Bullwinkle, these aren't wallpaper samples. Somebody sent you a mess of beautiful pictures.
Drawn by hand?
Of course not. If they were original, they'd be worth $1 million. They're just reproductions.
What good are they? They got no calendars attached to them.
Bullwinkle.
They'll do to keep the drafts out of the chicken coop.
And Bullwinkle set to work, nailing the paintings to the walls of the chicken coop.
There you are, girls, your own windproof art gallery.
But in the next few days, Rocky had bad news to report.
Look at this egg chart, Bullwinkle. Those hens just aren't laying like they used to.
It's not their fault, Rocky. It's those pictures of the Laughing Clavicle and Mona Lisa and all.
What have they got to do with it?
Well, can you do your best work with somebody looking over your shoulder all the time?
Well, maybe you're right.
I better do something about it.
Such as?
I'll whitewash the whole place, pictures and all. Oh, you're welcome, I'm sure.
And as Bullwinkle set off to find the whitewash brush, a long black car was pulling up in front of their little house.
Ooh, anybody home?
Hokey Smoke, who are you?
Allow me to introduce myself. Cerulean Blue, world's greatest art collector. And this is my secretary, Rose Madder.
Those are sure arty names, all right.
We pick nothing but the best.
Hey, haven't we met before?
You've probably seen my portrait in several galleries.
Art galleries, Boris.
Rogues galleries, Natasha.
Well, what are you doing here? Just one of our little collecting trips, darling.
You wouldn't by chance have any old pictures around that you'd like to sell?
We pay top prices.
Up to $3.98 a piece.
$3.98?
Up to $3.98 a piece. How about that?
Come on, Mr. Blue. We may have something here for you.
And the unsuspecting Rocky led the disguised villains to the chicken coop, just in time to see Bullwinkle sloshing whitewash over the last old master. Of course, there was only one thing for Boris to do. he fainted.
Ooh.
Well, is this the end of our hero's artistic adventure? Be with us next time for Portrait of a Moose or Bullwinkle Gets the Brush. Well, the art world is still buzzing over the shocking theft by Boris and Natasha of 10 old masters from a French museum and their subsequent disappearance.
But it's impossible. How could a picture drop out of sight so quick?
Oh, I don't know. Remember the horn blows at midnight?
Yes, that's right.
Several painters offered to paint new pictures, but that didn't work out either.
No, it's too expensive.
What could be more expensive than the 10 paintings?
10 painters at time and a half.
Oh.
The matter even came up on the floor of the U.S. Congress.
It's an outrage.
It's regrettable.
It's a communist plot.
Sir, why do you think it's a communist plot?
I think everything's a communist plot.
Well, little as they say, did they know that those paintings at that very moment were hung in a chicken coop in Frostbite Falls, Minnesota, where our hero, Bullwinkle Moose, had just covered the last one with whitewash.
Yeah, the hens couldn't work with people looking over their shoulders. All right, girls, back to work.
Well, the hens may have been happy, but there was somebody who was definitely not. An art dealer named Cerulean Blue.
Or as we know him, Boris Badenov.
You whitewashed every square inch of canvas.
Yeah, most of the round inches, too.
Ooh.
He fainted.
What's the matter? He never been in a warm chicken coop before?
Mr. Blue was going to buy those old pictures you painted over.
For how much?
$3.98 apiece.
Up to $3.98 apiece.
Wowee! Well, you wait a second. I'll scrape this whitewash stuff off with this steel wool, and then we'll...
No.
There he goes again.
But in a little while, Boris was his old evil self again.
Tell me, Mr. Blue, why don't you want Bullwinkle to scrape off the whitewash?
Because it'll ruin the valuable painting.
What valuable painting?
Uh-oh, think fast, darling.
This valuable painting.
You mean my whitewash job?
Whitewash my foot.
Okay, if you insist.
No, wait, Bullwinkle. He means he thinks this is a good painting.
Think, I know it's a masterpiece. I'll buy it.
Very smart, Boris.
You think you're dealing with kids or something?
I don't know. How much you offering?
I'll go top dollar, $3.98.
So... Wait a minute.
Don't interrupt. What were you going to say?
I was going to say
Now, wait. If the painting's worth anything at all, it's got to be worth more than $3.98.
Okay, you got me over a barrel. Make it an even $4.
Well, I think we ought to sleep on it, Bullwinkle.
And so our heroes took the whitewash masterpieces and retired to their small cottage, while Boris and Natasha fumed in the car outside.
What you doing, Boris?
You heard the man? I'm fuming.
That's fuming?
You got a better idea how to fume?
Who you calling, Rock?
I'm calling the art museums. They'll tell us if you're a great painter or not.
Art Museum, good afternoon.
Say, can you come out and look at a painting?
Why should I? I've hundreds to look at right here.
Yeah, but we think we got a brand new old master here in Frostbite Falls.
True.
Well, that's a little different. I'll be right out. And one word of caution.
Yeah?
Let's keep this thing a secret, shall we? Just between us art lovers.
Sure.
Well, it was obvious the museum director didn't know the Frostbite Falls phone system, for everybody in town was listening in on the party line, including Boris Badenov.
And I always listen to party line.
How come?
The party line is my country's answer to the thinking man's filter.
Well, it looks as if Boris's plan has gone askew.
Gesundheit.
We'll find out more in Bullwinkle Busts a Brush or The Cleft Palate.
There once lived an old man who had nothing to do. It wasn't that he was a loafer, for he had a job at which he had worked for years. He was a clockmaker. The trouble was that clocks hadn't been invented yet. Therefore, none of the clever little clocks that he had made worked. And making clocks that don't work is really nothing to do. Oh, he was very lonely. But one day something happened that was to change all this. He was in the woods gathering nuts for the winter when he chanced to see a box that was partially hidden behind a large tree.
A box. I will take it home and make a clock that doesn't work out of it.
But as he came around the tree, he suddenly stopped short. His eyes widened with surprise The box had something in it.
Who are you?
I'm a baby who's been left here in the woods by my wicked stepmother.
Baby? How old are you?
16.
That's pretty old to be a baby.
But the old man's heart went out to the young girl. He picked up the box and carried her home to raise as his own daughter. No longer lonely, the old man was happy for the first time in years.
Oh, Cutie Lou!
He called her Cutie Lou, which was kind of cute.
Cutie Lou, it was exactly 1 year ago today that I found you in that box.
Yes, and you made a beautiful clock that doesn't work out of it.
This is your birthday, and I'm going out to find you a gift.
Bidding the girl farewell, the old man set off into the forest. He traveled deep into the wilderness and soon came to a soft wooded glade. There he found some beautiful flowers of solid gold.
Ah, these cute golden flowers will be just the thing for Cutie's cute little hair.
He'd only picked one of the tiny flowers when, with a mighty roar, a great beast suddenly jumped from a nearby thicket.
Roar! You were picking my flowers. For that, I'm going to eat you.
But I only picked one.
So? I'll only eat you once.
Oh, terrified beyond words, the old man pleaded for his life.
Please chase me. Claw me up a little bit where the scars won't show, but don't eat me.
Cease! Your cries for mercy fall on deaf ears.
I'll give you a present. How about a clock that doesn't work?
What else have you got?
Nothing. The only thing I value in my life is my cute little daughter.
This caused the beast to stop and think, for he was unhappy as beasts go, and the fact that the old man had a cutie for a daughter brought a plan to his mind.
Listen, terrified old man, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you.
A short time later, the beast gave the old man his freedom, and he wasted no time in racing for home. When he arrived, his daughter met him at the door.
Father, you're home. Do you have a surprise for me?
I sure do.
What is it?
I gave you to a beast.
I see ya.
Wait, where are you going?
To find a box. I'm going out in the woods and abandon myself again.
But the old man quickly explained that the situation was not quite as bad as it looked. It seemed that the beast didn't really believe that he was a beast at all. He had heard a story about another beast who, when kissed by a beauty, was changed into a handsome prince who had been bewitched.
And so the beast figures that if it worked with a beauty, it ought to work with a cutie. Logical?
Could be. If he's really a handsome prince, we could get married and live happily ever after. In a castle yet. I'll do it.
And following the old man's directions, Cutie soon found the forest glade where she found the beast anxiously waiting.
Ah, fair cutie. I thought you'd never get here.
Sheesh. It's hard to believe that somewhere under all that hair there's a handsome prince. Well, let's get it over with.
Going to the beast, Cutie kissed him on the cheek to break the spell.
Now, that's strange. I don't hear bells or nothing like that. How do I look?
Ooh, horrible. Nothing happened. Maybe I kissed the wrong cheek.
And turning to the other cheek, Cutie tried again.
Something?
Nothing.
I can't understand it. The kiss should have worked.
Oh, it's no use. If you're ever going to change back into a prince, we're going to have some help.
And going into the kingdom, Cutie took the beast to a wise man.
Now, just how long have you had this feeling that you're a bewitched beast?
Well, it started when I was a little monster, only about 5 years old.
Then, 7 hours later...
Madame, I wish to announce that he is cured.
You mean he's a handsome prince now?
No, but he thinks he is.
Alas, fair maiden, it is I, Prince Charming.
Oh, knock it off. I wanted you to be a prince so we could live happily ever after.
Me too. But I do want to thank you for all your trouble. Farewell.
And with that, the beast kissed her hand. And, in a blinding flash, Cutie turned into a beast.
Well, how do you like that? I'm the one who was bewitched. I was a girl beast all the time.
And so, as usually is the case, it was a happy ending. They were married, and as far as anyone knows, are still living a beastly happy existence to this very day.
Hello there, culture lovers. This here pin is part of today's poem, The Old Almanac verse, C.A. Pin. C.A. Pin, pick it up. All the day you'll... Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. C.A. Pin, pick it up. All the... Didn't get it. C.A. Pin, pick it up. Uh-oh, it rolled into a crack. Come out of there, doggone it! All right, I'll pick it up the easy way. What happened?
As far as I can tell, Mr. Moose, a pin got stuck in the motor.
Well, that does it.
Where are you going?
I'm going somewhere where I can say my poem.
But that's a bowling alley.
Of course. These pins I can pick up. See a pin, pick it up. All the day you'll have good luck.
Don't you believe it?
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Ready, Rock?
You sure you know how to work that thing?
No. Anyways, here's what it was supposed to look like.
Question, Chairman. Where is Toronto?
Out on the reservation with the Lone Ranger, Mr. Peabody.
You're close. Actually, Toronto is in Canada, and that is our destination for today.
What great name and history are we going to meet up there?
Constable Archibald Woolley.
Never heard of him.
He was the first Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman. I instructed Sherman to set the Wayback Machine for the year 1869, the place an outpost in the wilderness territory of Toronto. And before you could say, halt or I'll shoot, we were standing inside the post headquarters watching a very irate Constable Woolley.
What's the matter, Mr. Peabody? He's tearing the place to pieces.
Looking for something, Constable?
Yes, by George, a new job.
You mean you're quitting the Mounties?
Yes, the whole thing's a bust. For my very first case, I'm supposed to bring in Ottawa O'Toole.
Well, bring him in.
I can't.
Why not?
Because of our motto. We always get our man. Ottawa O'Toole is a girl.
Well, I convinced the constable that girl or no girl, Ottawa O'Toole had to be brought in. Following up the latest information as to her whereabouts, we arrived at the Pettigrew Fur Company, only to find it in a complete state of disorder, and a going out of business sign over the main gate.
Trouble here, Pettigrew?
Trouble ain't a word for it. Ottawa O'Toole struck again. She's ruined me.
What did she do this time?
She crossed all my minks with skunks. Now my business stinks.
One good thing came of all this. O'Toole had left a very clear trail. Hoping to head her off before she could commit another atrocity, Constable Woolley took off, but didn't get very far, for Miss O'Toole had set a booby trap.
Yes, and she caught a booby, too.
Undaunted, we picked up the trail anew and followed it to the edge of a dense forest of mighty Saskatchewan spruce. There on a tree was a wanted poster. Look, Sherman.
Wanted, Ottawa O'Toole and her two sisters, Hermione and Gingold.
This unfortunately gave the constable an idea.
If only I could find two ladies and talk them into posing as O'Toole's sisters, I'd put them in jail, and when she came to break them out, I'd have her.
Unfortunately, ladies were hard to come by in the wilderness, so the constable did what he considered to be the next best thing.
How come I have to wear a bonnet, Mr. Peabody?
Because most girls don't have cowlick, Sherman. We were locked up in the nearest jail and awaited developments which were soon to come. As Constable Woolley had figured, Ottawa O'Toole took the bait.
Look, Hermione, a rock with a note tied to it.
Suppressing the urge to throttle Sherman, I instead read the note. Sisters, I will take care of the Mountie and have you out in a jiffy. Signed, Ottawa. It seems as though she means the constable bodily harm.
Yeah, we better warn him. Constable, come here, hurry.
Be with you in a moment. Someone's at the door.
But that's what we want to...
Good evening, madam.
We're still locked up. How's she going to get us out?
Just then there was a tap at the window. A hand thrust its way through the bars and dropped a long, thin object at Sherman's feet.
A burning candle, Mr. Peabody.
That is not a candle.
Are you sure?
Positive. When we came to, we were trussed up in the back of a speeding buckboard, heading into a remote area. Our driver was obviously the fiendishly clever Ottawa. Also, obviously, she had discovered the ruse and was out to dispose of us.
I'm awful hungry, Mr. Peabody. Mind if I eat my jelly beans?
What jelly beans? I ripped a hole in your pocket, and you've been dropping them at the rate of 3 beans per quarter mile.
What did you do that for?
To provide a trail for Constable Woolley. Sure enough, a scant 400 feet behind was the redoubtable constable, not only following the trail, but eating it as well. It was almost sundown when Ottawa O'Toole brought the buckboard to a stop at the edge of a lofty precipice.
How come she's stopping here, Mr. Peabody?
Obviously, she intends to push the buckboard and us over. But before she could do so...
Otto O'Toole, you're under arrest.
Good work, Mr. Constable. Tie her up.
I can't do it. We always get our man, not our woman. This isn't cricket.
O'Toole would have escaped had it not been for my superior powers of deduction. So grabbing a nearby rock...
You can't hit a lady, Mr. Peabody.
She's no lady, Sherman.
The disgrace of it all, capturing a woman instead of a man.
Ah, but you did get your man. Observe! Ottawa O'Toole was a man disguised as a woman.
Bravo! Hear, hear, and all that, Tommy Rot.
Gee, how did you know Ottawa was a man?
Because she had 5 o'clock shadow at 3:30.
That Constable Woolley sure is a great policeman.
Very true, but he became even a better actor.
He did? I never heard of him as an actor.
Well, of course you have, Sherman. Surely everybody's heard of Mountie Woolley?
Sir and madam and all you kids out there.
Get on with it, blabbermouth.
All right, all right. Well, through a quirk of fate, Bullwinkle painted a coat of whitewash over 10 stolen art masterpieces, and now Boris is secretly trying to buy them back.
What I can't understand is why he thinks these are worth anything.
Oh, I don't know, Rock. They do have a kind of dash to them.
They're just whitewash.
But notice how I left this little dark spot to kind of catch the eye.
Bullwinkle, that's a fly.
Oh, looks almost real, doesn't it?
Well, we'll know whether they're valuable in a little while now.
How come?
I sent for some art experts.
Sure enough, in just a few minutes, a caravan of cars began to pour into Frostbite Falls, bearing the cream of the nation's art connoisseurs, including the Dean of Art Critics, Price McVincent.
Very well. Where are these alleged paintings?
I'll get them for you.
Boris, suppose those art critics find out what's under that whitewash.
Maybe I better raise my last offer.
Well, here they are, Mr.
My enemies call me Mr. McVincent.
What do your friends call you?
What friends?
Yeah, see what you mean.
Well, what do you think of this one?
This is absolutely and without a doubt the most dreadful, nauseating, ugly...
I'll pay $10,000 for it.
The most ugly frame I can imagine for such an exquisite picture.
You think it's exquisite?
My dear boy, any painting worth $10,000 is exquisite.
I say, Ernest, who's the chap who bid 10,000?
Speaks with an accent, probably from the Middle East.
You mean he may be representing King,
Well, the king just can't go on collecting dancing girls. There's a bag limit, you know.
Well, if it's worth 10,000 to him, it's worth 15,000 to me. I bid 15,000.
Yeah, but wait a minute. These are just whitewash.
The medium doesn't matter, short and furry. It's the soul of the artist. What do you call this, my good man?
Moose.
Moose?
I call this one White Cow Eating Marshmallows in Snowstorm.
It fairly sings, doesn't it?
Boris, they are going crazy. 15,000 for a coat of whitewash.
You know something? It is kind of pretty at that, Natasha.
You too.
You think I don't appreciate beautiful things? 20,000.
Now hold on there. This is getting out of hand.
Let it go. Let it go.
I don't think we ought to sell any of these till we've had a chance to think things over.
The squirrel is right. We really should think things over.
We
agree. I bid 25,000.
30.
40. Well, that did it. Within hours, the news of an astounding new find in the art world flashed across the continent.
The most titillating new talent since Frank Yaconelli.
Looks like a moose, paints like an angel.
Collector's bid, Moose says nix.
Extreme Moose starts art school. Well, Boris, you have done it again. You have made the moose famous.
But not for long.
Boris, you got a plan?
Of course. And who, boy, is it ever fiendish?
And so the next time Bullwinkle left the house, he was accosted by a strange little boy.
Please, Mr. Moose, could I have your autograph?
Of course, little feller.
Thanks, oodles.
Name is Bullwinkle. Sweet kid. Cute mustache, too. Mustache!
And that wasn't all, for Bullwinkle had just signed a will, leaving all of his paintings to Boris.
So when he dies...
Which could happen any minute now.
We get the old masters. Oh, that's my Boris.
Please, you're crushing my curl.
Well, will the sinister document mean the end of our hero? And if so, what will happen to the Bullwinkle show?
I get that, too.
Be sure to be with us next time for Boris Badenoff Presents or the 20-inch Scream. Last time we saw Bullwinkle, he had just set the art world on its ear with a series of paintings done in whitewash.
I call this one Vanilla Ice Cream Spilled on a White Sheet, number 2.
What Bullwinkle didn't know was that underneath 10 of his paintings were 10 old masters recently filched from a Paris art museum by,
Let me guess. Picasso J. Flom?
No.
Toulouse Snook?
No.
Then it must be Boris Badenoff.
The man you love to hate.
You said it.
True, Boris was the culprit, but he didn't have the paintings. Instead, he had a will signed by Bullwinkle, which left the paintings to Boris if anything should happen to him.
And it just might.
All unaware of his danger, Bullwinkle was busy turning out more and more whitewash canvases.
What title do I put on this one?
Call it Man Eating a Sandwich in a White Room.
Well, I see the white room, but where's the sandwich?
The man ate it.
Then where's the man?
Well, you don't expect him to hang around after he ate the sandwich, do you?
No.
That's the trouble. You people never understand us artists.
Bullwinkle, why don't you use your head?
It's easier with a brush.
Meanwhile, the two villains had just planted several sticks of dynamite under the cottage and lit the fuse.
You sure there's enough there, Boris?
Enough. Baby, when this stuff goes off, all we got left is 1 pair antlers and 200 pounds of moose burger.
But, Boris, if we blow up Moose, we blow up the paintings, too.
Good heavens!
Boris, you said heavens.
What can I do? They won't let me plug the competition.
Well, now what?
Easy. We just take the paintings before this stuff goes off. But we gotta be awful quick.
Dashing into the house, the pair quickly ran to Bullwinkle's studio.
Remember me, boys? Cerulean Blue, the world-famous art collector?
Sure. What can we do for you, Mr. Blue?
I've decided to raise my offer for the 10 paintings.
Swell.
I now offer $25,000 apiece.
Wowee, as they say in the comics.
Only one thing.
Yeah?
Could I take them outside and look at them in the light?
Why, of course. Which 10 paintings did you want?
Which 10?
Yeah, I just finished number 35. Composition with whipped cream and snowballs.
Yeah, but where's the first 10 you painted?
In the pile there somewhere.
Boris, the dynamite will blow up the old masters.
I know. Tell you what, I'll buy the whole bunch.
35 of them?
At 25 thou apiece?
Right. Only one thing. Let's take them outside and look at them in the light.
And within just a few seconds, everybody was outside the house with the paintings.
Phew, that was close. These old masters are worth millions.
Funny. I only count 34 paintings here.
What?
Boris, it's only one painting.
But that one might be the Mona Lisa. I'll get it.
Hokey smoke, what happened?
Maybe the pilot light went out on your stove, darling.
We don't have a pilot light.
No.
We don't have a stove either.
Well, there you see.
Not quite.
Mr. Blue, you all right?
Hey, I was wrong. There's 35 here after all.
Yeah, that's certainly a good joke on you.
And small wonder that Boris laughed, for somewhere in the pile of paintings he had bought were the 10 old masters worth millions of dollars.
And what's more, we're taking the next submarine back to Pennsylvania.
You don't mean... But you're the bad guy.
So?
Well, I'd have bet $1 million you wouldn't win.
Put up or shut up.
I'll shut up. But be with us for our next episode, Dollars to Donuts, or The Wonderful World of Cruller.
A very long time ago, in a far-off land to the east, there lived a very rich and powerful sultan. Every year, on his birthday, the people flocked to his palace with gifts. Now, as it happened, a young rug salesman from another land who did not know of this custom chanced to come into the town that day in hopes of selling his rug. As he passed the palace, it was naturally thought that he was just another peasant bearing a gift to the sultan, and was quickly hustled inside.
Ah, what have we here? A rug. How nice.
But being a second-hand rug, it had a hole in it, and when the Sultan saw this, he was furious.
By the beard of my mother-in-law, how dare you bring me a rug with a hole into it?
Well, it's a small hole, Booby, just a little teeny one, but if it bothers you, I can let you have it for half price. What do you say?
At this, the Sultan flew into such a rage that he was unable to speak. This unfortunate circumstance had placed the young man's life in serious danger, and realizing his mistake...
What a really nice highness you are. You certainly can't take a joke.
Joke?
Well, of course, Booby. As a gift, this is much more than just a small rug with a large hole in it. You knew that all the time, of course.
I did?
Yes, of course you did.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
I did. Of course. What is it?
Get this, Big Daddy. It's a flying carpet.
Say, this is the finest gift I've ever received. And you know, I'm so pleased that I'm going to reward you handsomely. But first, I'm going to fly my carpet.
The young lad, of course, knew that the old rug would not fly, but before he could stop him, the Sultan ran to the highest wall of the palace, sat on the rug, and pushed himself over the side.
So, treacherous one, a flying carpet, eh?
The unfortunate lad was quickly seized and thrown into the palace dungeon. It was that afternoon that the Sultan's beautiful daughter, while picking flowers in the garden, happened to look in through the bars of cell 32 and saw the young man.
My, what a handsome you are. What are you in for?
A very short time, sweetie. Tomorrow I get beheaded, like Chop, you know, because I didn't bring your father a flying carpet.
If I help you escape, you could find a flying carpet and make Daddy happy so we could be married. Am I rushing things?
I thought you'd never ask, baby. What's the fiendish plan?
Wasting no time, the princess hurried to the royal kitchen where she baked a cake with a pick in it. Taking it to the waiting lad, he was able to eat the cake and dig himself out of the dungeon in less than an hour. Running into the city, he entered the first rug shop he saw.
Quick, Yasha, give me a flying carpet.
What color?
How about blue?
We got no blue ones.
All right, give me a red one.
No, we got no red ones either. In fact, we don't have any flying carpets at all.
Why didn't you say so?
You didn't ask me. How about a throw rug?
The lad went to every rug shop he could find. He found one carpet that could crawl, two that could bounce, another that could swim, but not a single one that could fly. Finally, in a last desperate effort, he went to a fortune teller.
I gaze into my crystal ball.
You do that.
I see that you will meet a tall, dark stranger with an axe.
That I already know. But can you tell me, please, where can I find a flying carpet?
What color?
Never mind what color. Just one that flies like Skysville.
Here, try this one.
Okay. Up, up, and away, fly carpets, fly.
But alas, nothing happened.
What are you, a spy from Hanna-Barbera? This thing won't fly.
Of course not. You don't believe in that magic jazz, do you? We've got to put a little something in it to make it fly.
Something like what?
Like this.
So saying, the fortune teller held forth a large jar of buzzing bees.
Bumbling bees?
Of course. Just sew them into the lining of the carpet, and when they fly, the carpet will fly. Simple.
The lad was not too sure, but he had no choice, for his time was running out. Taking the carpet and the jar of bees, he raced back to the palace and returned to his cell. There he spent the rest of the night sewing bees into the lining of the carpet. And when he was taken before the Sultan...
Father, wait! You cannot doom him!
You want to bet?
But he now has a flying carpet that will really fly with you. You do, don't you?
I certainly hope so, baby.
Let me see.
Hoping for the best, the lad released the carpet. When the bees flew, so did the carpet. Upon seeing this, the Sultan was so delighted that he immediately gave the lad his freedom. Thus, the young man and the princess were soon married and, of course, lived happily ever after. The Sultan flew on his carpet every day, and even though the bees in the lining stung him time and time again, he was happy too.
Ooh! Ouch! Ooh! Like ow!
After all, the carpet was a gift, and even the Sultan knew that the bee stings in life are free. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And now for all you knowledge seekers, here's Mr. Know-It-All.
Hi there! Today's subject is how to open a jar of pickles. The simplest way to open a jar of pickles is to unscrew the lid, turning gently from left to right. Oh! If that doesn't work, turn it right to left. Oh! Well, there are other ways of opening it. Putting the jar under hot water will usually do the trick, and if you happen to be in Yellowstone Park, the best hot water comes up out of Old Faithful, the geyser. You place the jar right over the hole, taking care to be well clear before the geyser goes. When you get out of the hospital, you take a slightly different approach.
I got the hammer, Mr. Know-It-all.
Splendid, splendid. When the lid is tapped, it is certain to loosen. Now, when I nod my head, you hit it with the hammer.
Right, Bullwinkle. Huh?
I think I made that perfectly clear. I said, when I nod my head, hit it with the hammer.
If you say so.
Okay. I nod thusly and... If everything else fails, we climb to an altitude of 5,000 feet and hurl the jar and ourselves earthward. Pocahontas! But if you really want to open a jar of pickles...
Wait a minute, Mr. Know-It-all. That isn't a jar of pickles. That's a jar of jelly.
No wonder I couldn't open it. It's jammed.
Sherman, when a person yells caramba and cries, what is he doing?
Peeling Spanish onions?
No, he's watching a bullfight.
Is that what we're going to do, Mr. Peabody?
Well, we're not going to peel Spanish onions. Following my instructions, Sherman set the Wayback Machine for Cadiz, Spain in the year 1833. Before you could say ole, we were sitting inside a huge arena.
Here comes the matador, Mr. Peabody.
And out strode a handsome fellow bedecked in traditional bullfighting garb. A roar went up from the vast throng as a gate at the far end of the arena swung open, and out trotted a ferocious-looking bull. Dog.
That's not a bull.
We watched in utter dismay as the matador took a stick, threw it, and the bulldog retrieved it. This went on for an hour and a half, and then Sherman brought something to my attention.
You're asleep, Mr. Peabody.
Yes, so was the crowd in the arena. Leaving our seats, we quickly cornered the manager of the establishment.
So, senor, you don't think fetching this stick should be Spain's national sport?
I think bullfighting would be far more colorful.
That's true, but there is only one bull in this neck of the woods, and he won't come near this arena.
Lend me the services of your bravest matador, and we'll bring him back. Well, his bravest matador turned out to be one Porfirio Garbanza.
You leave it to me, senor. I will catch that bull.
With a butterfly net?
We left the net behind and should have done the same thing with Porfirio, for just on the outskirts of Cadiz...
There's the bull, Mr. Peabody, standing in the road.
And one I might add who has his dander up.
Then I will let his dandruff down.
Before I could stop him, Porfirio, or Porfirio, which I somehow prefer, approached the creature and told him off.
Senor Bull, it is for you to come into the arena and make with the bull fight.
Now, the bull was in a bad humor as it was, but when Porfirio chose that moment to pull out his red hanky... As the bull sped off into the distance, we turned to Porfirio.
There's some bull thrower, eh?
Now we've got an even longer way to bring him back.
40 miles from Cadiz, we spotted our quarry standing in a meadow.
This time I get him for sure.
Yes, but this time keep the hanky in your trousers, please. And use subterfuge. Reason with him. Pretend he's your best friend.
Hello, Bull. Where's the 2 pesos you owe me? Tell you what, you pay me the money and I buy you a pair of socks just like these ones I got on.
And, of course, the socks he had on were red.
Well, you scared him off again, Mr. Garbanza.
Why don't we try catching a jackass?
We already have one, senor. It took us 3 hours to catch up with the bull, and this time he was standing in the shade of a large tree.
This time I take off the red socks and throw the red hanky away.
We made him go even further.
But I could catch cold.
Just so long as you catch the bull.
Buenos dias, Bull. What's new? Say, how about a nice piece of fruit? Here, have an apple.
You guessed it. The apple was red. As the sun sank over the hills, so did our bull. 1 week later, some 400 miles from Cadiz, we discovered the bull sitting on the railroad tracks.
If you don't get off there, he's going to get hit by the Onion Pacific.
Sure enough, around the bend and bearing down hard came a fast freight train. Quick, Sherman, Porfirio, hop aboard as the train passes.
But what about the bull?
As I had surmised, the cowcatcher in front of the engine swept up the bull and carried him along.
Well, what do you know? The bully is on his way back to Cadiz.
Well, not for long he wasn't. We had the great misfortune to be stopped by a red light and...
Well, there he goes, heading into the city of Seville.
I told Sherman and Porfirio to go into Seville and wait for me while I stayed on the freight train and went back to Cadiz. There, in one of the larger gambling casinos...
21 red again. You keep this up, you are going to break the bank.
By applying calculus, Hector's arithmetic, and PS39 multiplication, I had amassed a fortune in no time.
One more win and you win the city of Cadiz.
Which, of course, was exactly what I was after. 21 red again.
Why not 21 black?
Well, it would simply ruin the color scheme of this whole story. Needless to say, 21 red came up and I owned the city.
Well, Senor Peabody, now that you own my Jarena, what are you going to do with it?
I'll give everything back to the city and your arena back to you if you move it to Seville.
You got a deal.
And thus, instead of the bull coming to the arena came to the bull. Spain, and Seville in particular, had its first bullfight.
Oh, my gosh, Mr. Peabody, look, that matador in the arena. It's a lady.
Yes, her name is Barbara. Not only the first female bullfighter, but the best of them all.
I never heard of her.
You have never heard of the Barbara of Seville?
Boris and Natasha had just bought 35 of Bullwinkle's whitewash paintings,
including the 10 with old masterpieces under the whitewash.
And now the villains are waiting for the next Pottsylvanian submarine to come up on the outskirts of Pigeon River.
There it is now, Boris.
That's one thing you can say about our fearless leader. He made the submarines run on time.
But Bullwinkle's brush and bucket was still busy night and day.
What is it, Bullwinkle?
That's obvious, Rock. It's Santa Claus arriving in a terrible blizzard.
I should have known.
Finally, even the Paris Museum, which had lost the 10 old masters, had to change its mind.
You mean we are going to replace them with modern paintings?
Marcel, we must move with the times.
Fui!
And besides, the moose gave them to us for nothing.
Ooh, they're beautiful.
And so 10 of Bullwinkle's paintings were hung in the spots vacated by the stolen old masters. Meanwhile, many miles away in the grim little country of Pottsylvania...
it's good to breathe the air of Pottsylvania, Natasha.
That pungent odor.
Yes, they must be burning books in the public square again. But we digress. We got to sell this $1 million bunch of old masters.
Who to, Boris?
Natasha, there's only one man in Pottsylvania who has money.
You mean our fearless leader?
Yes, that greedy, money-grabbing, penny-pinching...
Go on, bad enough.
Thrifty, industrious, frugal, level-headed...
Enough!
Why, it's fearless leader!
Bad enough, you're a groveling bootlicker.
But I...
Fortunately for you, I like groveling bootlickers.
I'm glad.
What do you have there?
10 disguised old masters worth $2 million. But for you...
For me? Thank you, bad enough.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I get. Thank you.
Of course not. Thank you very much.
Oh, boy.
Now, what do you say?
You're welcome.
Not only that, but when Fearless Leader cleaned the whitewash off...
Schweinhund! These aren't old masters. These are plain canvas. Arrest him.
Darling, is there anything I can do?
Yes. Shut up, you mouth!
Meanwhile, back in Frostbite Falls...
But why didn't you give Mr. Blue the first 10 paintings?
Well, he was such a nice seller, I thought he'd like 10 brand new ones.
Well, what happened to the first one?
I gave them to that Paris museum.
And sure enough, when these paintings were cleaned...
Sacre Bleu, the masterpieces are back again.
It's a wonder.
It's a miracle. It's about time.
Well, it looked as if Bullwinkle really had it made as an artist until a terrible thing happened.
That's right, Mr. Moose. We're plumb out of whitewash.
Oh, dear. I need 4,000 gallons of it.
We'll have it in on Monday.
But that was too late, for over the weekend, another artist appeared on the scene to catch the eye of the art world.
This is Jackson Plop.
Yes, Jackson Plop, painted with a mixture of pablum and chicken gizzards.
Well, there's one thing I've got to say about this boy's work. It's got guts.
Gee, Rock, I can't sell a painting these days.
Yeah, and we're stuck with 4,000 gallons of whitewash. Wait a minute, where is all the whitewash?
I sold it.
Sold it? Who to?
To them fellers who investigate payola.
4,000 gallons of whitewash?
Believe me, to them, it's only a drop in the bucket.
And so we reach another happy ending where... Oh, now, wait a minute. This isn't a happy ending.
Sure it is. Look, I'm smiling.
Oh, good. Okay. Happy ending.